So in our last session, the 51st session, we were discussing about the questions Uddhava posed to Bhagavan and pleads him to enlighten him on the answers of that. There were a few shlokas on that put together. He has asked about what is charity, penance, honesty, renunciation, fortune, profit, learning, shyness, scholar and a fool. Who is a scholar, who is a fool? What is heaven, hell? Who is rich, who is poor? Etc. All these, there are so many, and so these were just for guidance, reminder. So these were the questions Uddhava posed to, requested Bhagavan to clarify. So in the 33rd shloka of chapter, Bhagavan explains. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Ahimsa satyam asteyam asangho prораsamshaya samchaya astikyam brahmacharyam cha maunam stairyam Shamabhayam. The Lord said here in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, there were about 5 virtues have been described. Ahimsa, satyam, asteyam. In the Yama, and here it has been explained as 10 of them more. So Ahimsa, we have explained many of these things in detail when we took Patanjali Yoga Sutra. An overview is always good, even though we may not go into depth of it, as we have already done, but we just go through it. Ahimsa. Himsa is injury. Himsa. Ahimsa, non-injury. Not to hurt. Not create. An injury is the hurt. More than the hurt, we should call it as injury. Very minor difference is there. An injury causes pain. An injury causes loss of confidence. An injury causes fear. An injury causes enmity. An injury causes loss of jnanam, conscious loss of jnanam, that is knowledge. When one gets injured, all these things can happen. So any of these things connected, these things are all injury. So it is not only a physical injury, it is not only an emotional injury, it is not only a mental or emotional injury. An injury in the sense what I told you about all this, they are all injury. An injury leaves its mark always. An injury leaves its mark. A hurt may or may not. Any kind of injury, that's why they have used non-injury. Any kind of injury will leave its mark. Some may heal up externally, but the mark is already there. So in that injury, the one who has caused, the one who suffered the injury, can have all these repercussions as I told you right now. Any kind of creating such injury, one can easily live without hurting or without injuring anything else. I am only talking on one side now. I am talking about others. But it doesn't mean here, no such clarification is there. Whenever people think that non-injury, not to injure, non-injury, ahimsa, we always think of ahimsa, not to do himsa to others. All the classifications, our mind is set up only on that. Oh, killing of other person is not good. Killing of other things are not good. Plucking flowers is not good. Disturbing the tree is not good. Plant is not good. So many are there. These are all we consider as ahimsa. But you don't understand. Himsa of the self is the most important thing. Rather, not himsa, ahimsa. Ahimsa of the self is not most important thing. You are feeling insecure, not confident, dependent, created emotions with attachment and attraction, feeling guilt, going into deep depression because of that. All these are self-injury. You are creating a lot of self-injury. In fact, most of the people are injuring themselves than others. Himsa, any kind of himsa. This is what I have already explained to you in the earlier cases also. It's a very important thing. That's why ahimsa has been put as first. Himsa to the self, even feeling pride of something. I am great, I am so and so, I can do this, I got this strength, I got this position, I got this, blessings, I am the great, like Ravana, I am the great Bhakta of Shiva, I am great Bhakta, I am great this one, is also an injury. Don't think. It is not that. It is an injury. It will demoralize you. That's why Ravan had to cut a sorry figure at the final end of that. He did not even bother about his own Aradhya, Bhagavan Shiva. So that's papa. That's what we call it as papa. Sin. So injury, himsa to the self. Himsa to go succumbing to the pressures of the situations, circumstances, society, culture, and your education and your position and your sharira, your capabilities, incapabilities all together, put together, is you are guided or you are led, you are guided, you are led, you are forced sometimes to do all these ahimsa. These ahimsas, everything is ahimsa. None of them should be done. That's why I always say that what is freedom, and I explained about the freedom, that is the swatantrata, swatantriam, swatantra. To be self, tantra, to be the self, the art of being the self is called swatantrata. The art of being the self, art to be in the self, we can also say that. That's called swatantrata. Swatantrata means swatantraha, to be free. To be free means doesn't mean that whatever I like I can do. It's mostly all misinterpretation of the words, beautiful words by the Maharishis and Tapasvis have created with a lot of research sometimes, or many of them, most of them are Shrutis. So an interpretation or an analysis is not required for that. Swatantrata, freedom. To do what you want, not what you want to do. Want means again that want comes. Want is a fulfillment of the mind and the desires and the emotions. That's what's a want. That's why the want cannot be used. Then what should be used? To do what is right is called swatantrata. Swatantrya, to do what is right. What is right? There's only one right. To be in the self. To be identifying the Brahman. And identify and understand. Brahman alone is the truth. And all the paths, all the karmas, all that what I execute, all what I think, all what I do, all what I expect, or whatever you do, whichever karma yoga, jnana marga or bhakti marga, or any marga that you take, they are all meant for identifying the Brahman alone is the truth. And freedom, liberty or liberation or liberty or freedom, swatantrata, to be identifying that self with the Brahman or to be that Brahman is called the swatantrata. This is called the freedom to think. Freedom to think. That freedom to think doesn't mean freedom to think of negative things. We can take it as a freedom. You are not free. Why? When you analyze freedom, why thinking of, there may be a question, okay, you said I have to think about Brahman, but I can think about wrong things. I can think about negativities. I can think about attachment, attractions emotionally, because that gives me pleasure. Because when an emotional fulfillment takes place or non-fulfillment takes place, that gives a pleasure to me. I would like to be in that pleasure, enjoyment. Sometimes, that dard. We all, in Hindi they have told, meeta dard also. See, what's the classification? The sweet pain, you see. Meeta dard, they said. How can dard be meeta? No. It's a contradictory statement, but there is a sweet pain. Why? Because your mind enjoys that pain. Viraha dukkha. It can be sweet, it can be sour. No. Thinking of a departed soul, somebody died, thinking of him, even though it is gives pain, sorrow, sadness and all that, but they say it's a pain. Love is a pain. And love is feeling of love, thinking that, doing that. So many people, that's why they commit suicide. They commit a lot of unwanted things in love. Why? Because they think they have a pleasure in doing it. See? Otherwise, who will do it? unwanted things. And when he really thinks about it, two minutes about that, he will think that it is foolish. But it's a momentary thing, It suddenly comes. What is that? Mitadar. So injury to the self. Why? Because, so that's why I said, why did I say all this? Is because freedom of thinking that is not freedom. You have got a mind, you have got intelligence, you have got thing. Doesn't mean that you can think anything is called a freedom of think, like we call it freedom of press. Expressing anything that press wants to express is identified today as freedom of press. Is it freedom? Is it called freedom? What is truth has to be expressed is called freedom of press. Okay. Now what is truth? That has to be identified. Only truth can be expressed. That's called freedom. Same way, what is freedom? What is swatantrata? To think and to identify and to be with the liberation should be the liberty of thinking. The liberty of thinking should be identifying liberation, not entanglements. Whereas in love, in that what you call the pleasure of the minds, the pleasures of the mind, which classify, where you say that it is sweet memories. Somebody says sweet memories, sweet dreams, sweet pain, sweet pleasure. They're all what? They are all entanglements, bandhanam. That's why we don't call them as liberation, or we don't call it as swatantrata. So to think swatantrata means they are thinking of bindings. We cannot call it as liberty to think of it. That is thinking of binding yourself. That's not liberty. The liberty is only meant for liberation is liberty. That's why it is known as liberty. Liberty is only for liberation from that, not binding them. Is it not? That's why it is known as liberty. Liberty to think is not to bind yourself. That's a contradictory statement then. Liberty of thinking to bind is a contradictory statement. It's a contradictory action. It can never go together. Liberty and binding cannot go together. How can you think to bind yourself and call it as liberty? Wrong usage, wrong practice. Liberty is only for what? The word itself is very clear. Liberty. Liberty is to liberate. That's all. Simple. Very easy to understand. So now what are the bindings? All those thoughts which we now discussed. That gives pleasure, this, that. Everything is what? Binding. They are not liberty, that's not liberation. So what happened? Thinking of all those are what? Injury to self, ahimsa to the self. Why it is ahimsa? Because that is an obstacle for identifying the ahimsa, that identifying the truth or the Brahman in you, which is known as ahimsa. Who are you killing? Atma hamsa, that's why Atma hatya hananam we said. These are all Atma hatya. Non-injury means Atma hatya should not be done. What is Atma hatya? Atma hatya is that even though hatya of Atma practically or literally when you translate it, hatya of the Atma, but it's a very inappropriate word to be used because Atma cannot be destroyed. Atma cannot be killed. But that's a usage. There is a usage. The usage is that Atma hatya. That means Atma hatya is that you are preventing the Atma to be liberated and staying in the liberty is called. Doing any action of that kind is called Atma hatya. Atmahatya is not only killing the Sharira, I mean, you see. Oh, I did not get that. It's an injury. Because you have bound yourself with the attachment, non-receipt of it. The pleasure of receiving it has been deceived by your mind. So you go into that, this kind of, they are all injury to the self. So Atma Hananam, these are all Atma Hananam. So most of the injuries are done to the self. So Ahimsa has to be done, practiced to the self first, automatically, for others will automatically come. When there is Himsa Bhavana or Hina Bhavana, from Himsa only, Hina has come. The words are come. When you got Himsa Bhavana, then only you do the Himsa to the others. So the first Ahimsa has to be practiced to the self. What do you mean by that? How can you do Himsa to others? Himsa means using a wrong word against somebody, so fighting with someone, or using an abusive language to somebody. Even that, I am going to the very minimum of that. Even that is also Himsa to the others. Now from where this Himsa Bhavana has come to you? Why did you use that word? You don't use it generally. You used it only on a particular person, particular substance, particular incidents, particular event, particular time, and to a particular individual or particular situation you have used it. Why did you use it? You had an expectation from that place, from that situation, from that circumstance, from that individual, from that environment, from that culture, from this, from that. You had an expectation out of it. When you did not get that what you expected, you used that hurt language or hurt action to that, you see. So where is the Himsa? Himsa is in us. That's why you use that Himsa, the word of Himsa there. Otherwise you would not have used it. If you were happy, if you were liberated, if you thought that this environment will not give me that happiness. Happiness is something else. Yes, I may be expecting something, but that expectation should not be causing an injury in you. Himsa Bhavana in you. Himsa should not. There are so many things happening. Everything will happen. Nobody can stop it. The world, so many things are there in the world. So many events are there from time to time, era to era, from place to place, from individual to individual, from situation to situation, depending upon karmas and karma palas, many things keep on happening. Because the constant happening is going on. That's how the world is created. That's why the world is existing. If only one thought comes and one event comes, one situation comes, what will happen? World stands still. Means what? No more world. Finished. What is world? That's why the great men said, Jagat Mithya. It is your constant thinking, linking with many events together is creating this world. You see. Am I right? Simple to understand, the great principle, but simple to understand how, Let me tell you. In a theater, in the theater, on the dais, in the what is it? Dais, no? Where the drama is played? Stage. Stage. And on the stage, actors come, move. That's why, actors come and move. A lot of activities are happening. Everything is happening. No? And suddenly, it's over. Then what happens? Still, the stage is empty. Nothing is happening. Is there anything happening? Is there a world there? Suppose you consider. Otherwise, what happens? Your concentration is there. Your world is there. Now, your world, when the drama is over or when the play is over, that world is finished. Is there a world there? Am I clear? That is why, psychologically, the great directors and great event masters have thought We cannot. Otherwise, earlier days, what happened in our schools and all that. From one scene to another scene, we have only one stage now. So what happens? One whistle will be there. You have to pull down the curtain. Those days we don't have even motorized. People. Two boys will come and say, pull down. They roll down. Okay, screen. Then again, when it is another scene is set, everything is ready. This will go up. But what happened? The viewer has created a world in the first scene. Now he has created a disruption to the world. So that world has ended. Another world has started. So there is no link. So he will not be able to appreciate the drama completely if he doesn't link with the previous stage to the present stage, or previous action to the present action. Is it not? There is a break in between, chana and all you ate and had a drink, a little gossip has been done, your world has changed. Now another world has come. No, there's no continuity. So the great thinkers of drama and great psychologists have thought, no, this should not happen. So they invented what? The revolving theatre. Am I right? He doesn't give you a time to go away from his world. Okay? Yeah. The revolving theatre has been created, so you don't waste the time and then you are in that world only. Now, by the time the one scene is over, next scene has come like a movie. So cinemas have started. In cinema, this is what happens. That's why cinema is more impressive. Because there's a constant world created for you and you are in that world constantly and you believe that, is it not? Many people have taken movie as serious as in their life. Many of the events, many of the actions, many of the language, many of the the behavioral pattern also, they have imitated them. Is it not? Why? Why? Because you thought that is the world. But actually, is it the world? Is it the world? No, it's not the world. No. Same thing happens here. Because of your continuous thinking, contradictory and also the for and against thoughts keep on coming and discussing. The mind is keeping on actively participating in those thoughts. Those continuous thoughts have created this world. Suppose you and me and everyone in this world started thinking the same thing. There is no discussion, there is no opinion, there is no question, there is no answer. There is no attraction, there is no attachment. Absolute stillness will come, is it not? Alright? The difference of opinion keeps you alive, Makes you think, makes you work, makes you discuss, makes you also innovate things. That also is there. Lot of things, difference of opinion. That's why there has to be an opposition to the ruling party. There has to be an opposition to your thought. Whatever you think, there has to be a contradictory thought. Mind, in the mind itself, there are two. The ruling and opposition is there in our mind itself. That's the basis of our human nature. The moment you think, should I do it? I should do it? Then should I do it? Immediately the next answer comes, should I do it? I think better not do it. The moment you say better not do it, no, better to do it. Is it not? Now, confused, we always end up in a confused state, which one to be chosen. Now, the thought that what you have created, whether to do it, not to do it, should I do it, should not do it, with these 5 problems, you go to the Guru. I got all this sort out. So he being a great man, he doesn't have any attachment to this world. He is beyond this world. Beyond world means beyond your discussions in your mind. When he is beyond your discussions, liberated from you, liberated from the activities, liberty of thinking has automatically come. So he is not partial, he becomes impartial, is called liberty. When he becomes impartial and he says, look, this is your karma bhala, this is what you are supposed to do. Very simple. If he gets himself attached to your own thoughts and your emotions and your this one, he will not be able to tell you the right path where you are supposed to go. So the liberty of deciding to go against your thinking only will liberate yourself, so that he can advise you to go for the liberation, and he can advise you to go to the identification of the liberation. That means swatantrata. That's called swatantrata. Non-injury. That will create its own. Otherwise, all these thoughts, what will happen? It's only creating injury, himsa to you. Because neither you are able to do it, nor you are able to identify it, nor you are able to decide it, nor you are sure whether to do it or not, whether that itself is right, the thought itself is right or wrong, that itself we do not know. There are so many complications in that. And you will ultimately find none of them are right. They are all illusions. They are all imaginations, because they are all based on your expectations. They are based on your karma bhala. They are based on your expectations, based on your desires, based on your attachment, based on your attractions. These contradictions come in our mind. Why the contradiction come? Tell me honestly. I have attachment to such a thing. Now, where is the contradiction in that? That's the statement first comes. I have attachment to so and so, or such and such, or thing, or such a environment, such a situation, such a person, such a event, such material. I have an attachment. Immediately it comes, next comes. There's a classification comes. Why? That gives you pain, that gives you pleasure, that gives you doubt, that gives you discussion. There's always a contradiction to that. If a firm, liberated mind has got an opinion, it should be that throughout the life. But it has not that. There is contradictory statements coming to the mind. Why? Because you have no freedom to think the right. Or you have not exercised, not you are not freedom, you have freedom. You have not exercised the freedom to think right. You have the liberty. Even though the liberty has been given, you have not used that liberty. What did you use? Used it for the purpose of binding. And you called it as liberty, where it is not liberty. Liberty is that liberate from all these things. All these things what? As I told you. Your happiness, your unhappiness, your feeling proud of pride, or your kashta, dukkha, your attachment, your attraction, your neglect, your disappointment, they are all binding only. They are all because of the non-utility of the liberated thought. When there is liberated thought, there will be constant ananda, happiness. And there will be any, no doubt, samshayatma vinashyate. Doubts. Thousands of doubts, is it not? Yesterday only you have done, and today, yesterday it has been done. Today should I do the same thing or not? It has been proved it is right, but still I have got a doubt. Contradiction of mind, keeping you in contradiction. So when what happens? Samshayatma vinashyate, they said, that means any samshaya, doubt to what? Doubt to the truth. Doubt of truth is samshaya. Not that anything and everything you have got a question mark on, that is not samshaya. Questioning is samshaya. Questioning the truth. Questioning the Upanishad, just for an example. Questioning the Upanishad is samshayatma. Because I am not able to understand, so I have got a doubt. Instead of having a doubt, why don't you try to understand it? Is what they say. That's called liberated thinking. Suppose I don't agree with it. Agreement what? Agreeing what? Agreeing emotionally, agreeing depending upon my environment, agreeing depending upon my culture, my educational status, my family status, my era, my time, my situation, my emotional attachment to that person. Agreements and disagreements vary. Both agreement and disagreement are binding. They are not liberated thought. When you do not have that, there will be constant ananda in you. This contradiction of mind keeps you occupied in your worldly attachments, materialistic attachments. The worldly attachment in the sense, kashta, dukkha, sometimes pleasure, sometimes happiness, sometimes dukkha, sometimes kashta, sometimes labha, sometimes nashta, sometimes cold, sometimes hot, sometimes this, sometimes that. So this cycle keeps on going. This is all what you have got. The whole life you have been doing this. Switching over from these 10 points, 1 to 10. That's all you can do. Nothing more than that. From kashta you went to dukkha. From dukkha you went to again sukha. From sukha you went to pleasure. From pleasure you went to happiness. From happiness again came back to kashta or dukkha, whatever XYZ. You are moving only in this small cycle of these events, for 10 events. You have not liberated yourself from that. And you don't understand that you are bound by these emotions. Who is the reason? Who is responsible for that? You yourself. Why? God has given you the liberty to think, to liberate yourself from the entanglements, and you, liberated from the liberty and entangled in the shackled yourself in the entanglements. And then you called, tied up, I am entangled. That is my liberty to get entangled. Can we say that? This is not a contradictory statement. I have my liberty to get entangled. I have liberty to talk like that. I have liberty to think like that. I have liberty to behave like that. I have a liberty to identify like that and analyze like that. We use this word liberty for all entanglements opposite to liberty. That's why Uddhava asked, tell me with the opposites of that is what Uddhava told Bhagavan, requested Bhagavan. Not only that, do this, do, that's why there is a, what is that? Do's and don'ts. Alone, do's alone, you may not understand. So tell us don'ts. Bhagavan, Uddhava also very right. Sometimes what happened, this don't is a very clever, negative, evil spirit. Through darkness, they creep and come into the light. So do's only, not that don'ts also have to be given. Jnanam and ajnanam has also be told. Light, when you say, you have to refer always to dark. Injury, non-injury. So when I talk about Ahimsa, Ahimsa is the principle. When I talk about Ahimsa, I have to talk so much about Himsa, then Ahimsa is clear. Am I right? I had been talking only about Himsa. I had not been talking about Ahimsa. Not doing any of these things, because Ahimsa is satyam. Ahimsa doesn't have paryaya. Ahimsa doesn't have analytical solutions for that. Ahimsa, truth, doesn't have number of words to classify this is truth. There's only one word is why. For Ahimsa, I have to talk only about Himsa, then Ahimsa is what? Not doing this is Ahimsa. Not doing this is Ahimsa. Not doing this is Ahimsa. See, everything comes to Ahimsa only one. Answer is only one. Whereas Himsa is many. When plurality, so when I derive this analysis, when pluralities come to your mind, it is an obstacle to liberation of thinking. Pluralities. When pluralities come, it is liberation to thinking. Bhagavan said, Ekagra chitto bhava. That means Ekagra chittata, when everyone is independent and totally surrendered, samarpana bhava at the Lord, and derive the pleasure and happiness of that and ananda of that, the contradictions and the conflicts and the desires and the ifs and buts and do's and don'ts, none of them remain. They all get diluted into Ahimsa. What is your dharma? Your dharma is Ahimsa. Not doing Himsa to yourself is the Ahimsa. Basically, when it comes to, when you are there, then only your thought is there. When your thought is there, then only liberated thought and non-liberated thought, both are there. Based on your liberated and non-liberated thought only, you create Himsa and Ahimsa. Simple. Ahimsa is to the self. There is no specification for Ahimsa. No. But for Himsa, there are a lot of specifications. Ahimsa is non-injury. Not only non-injury to the others, non-injury to self. When non-injury to the self comes, automatically non-injury to the others will take. So Ahimsa is a beautiful word to be used for each and every activity, moment to moment in our life. Every thought has to be not doing Himsa to the self. You are insulting yourself. You are degrading yourself by doing Himsa to you. You have got an enormous capacity and you would like to be confined in that small dirty emotion which binds you towards, towards what? Towards very small and nothing practically. What happens? All your karma that you are supposed to do, you are not doing. What you are supposed to execute in your life, that you are not doing. Because you are bound by this particular emotion which is Himsa. And you are bound by that and you sink in that. You will never get liberated out of it. In liberation, there has to be anandam. That anandam has to be permanent, then only it is liberation. The ones which are changing, that's why pluralities of mind is all obstacles to the mind and doing Himsa to yourself. As I told you, there are so many things happening in the world, there will be so many things will happen in the world. A jnani, like a Maharshi, Tapasvi, jnani, a great man, a great nobleman who is conscious of living. Who is conscious of living, who is a brahmachari. Who is the one who is conscious of living? Is a brahmachari. A brahmachari will identify, they are not meant for me. Let it be there. That should not affect me, that's all. That should not create an injury to me. I am keeping the sword or a maragayudha in order to protect me, not to hurt me or hurt others. No. What do you say? Suppose a thief comes, if he has got a gun in his hand, you are scared of approaching him. Suppose he doesn't have a gun, probably you will try to do a fight, physical fight, and try to defeat him. But even though he is not strong enough, suppose he has got a maragayudha, you will be scared. Because what is a scare? Scare of death. He can kill you. So what is that maragayudha meant for? He should not use it. If he doesn't use it, it is Ahimsa. Okay. Same way, when you have certain capabilities and capacities and God has provided you certain facilities and certain environments, certain situations, everything is not meant for hurting but gaining happiness, derive happiness out of it. The moment that's why there is a cover for what do you call it? There is the cover, no, or holder. Okay. No, the gun has to be put inside and locked inside so that it doesn't by mistake, it should not explode on my own body. Or the sword is kept in that, I don't know the name. Okay, sheath. Inside that. Only when it is required, it has to be taken out. And only to be shown, not to kill anybody. That's why Bhagavan told. I told you a story long back in my classes. So many years I had been telling the same story probably. That when the Swamiji was crossing, the snake was there with a poisonous snake who used to disturb the whole village. And Swamiji said, why are you troubling others? Why don't you keep quiet? So he listened to Swamiji, kept quiet. And people have thrown stones and sticks on and all that. He was in a very pathetic, injured condition. When Swamiji was returning from his journey, he saw a pathetic, venomous snake in pathetic condition lying down. He asked, what happened to you? He said, you are the cause for that. You only told me not to disturb others. So when I stopped disturbing others, when I stopped biting others, they all found that I am easy to approach. They have started throwing stones on me. Swamiji smilingly said, God has given you another Shakti, not only poison, God has given you another power in you. What is that? Hiss. When you see a man comes or anything, any animal comes to you, hiss. No? That hiss will scare them and go away. See, that's all. You don't have to do anything. So the weapon of I am also telling, hiss, but don't bite. Let the thoughts come. Let the attachment be there. Let the attraction be there. Let there love, hatred. Let there be desires. There be expectations. Let all that be there. But hiss, that's all. Keep it at a distance. Let it be there. They will be there. Let it be there. It should not affect you. That's all. So to do that, you have to practice yourself naturally. It's not possible easily. So for that, that's why we are reading all this. That's why we are attending the satsanga. That's why we are reading Upanishads, Vedas, and Maharshis and Tapasvis have explained it. And Vedas have written that, look, hey, Manava, you are Manushya. Because of your karma bala, you have taken birth. Fine. Fine, no problem. It's okay. Let us accept it. That's a fact. And I have to undergo these things. Let me undergo it. But nothing stops you to liberate yourself from all this. Nothing stops you. Along with fulfillment of your karma, do this practice of liberated thought to be, to be liberating from the entanglements of all these things. Your thoughts should be based on liberating you from that, not entangling you from that. Hatred is also an attachment. Love is also an attachment. There is no classification for mind that love and hatred. Classification of mind is only attachment. That's all. Both are attachment. Two have got two different prakritis, two different emotions is being created in you. That's a different thing. In hatred you get angry, in love you become pleased. Well, all these results are nothing but binding you towards that, entangling you towards that. So coming out of those entanglements, the multiplicities, the pluralities, the multiples, and all those emotions which are binding you towards doing things. Emotions will be there. We are there, we are born, we are executing our karmas, so emotions have to be there. You cannot avoid it. No? Let it be there. If there is river, there will be snake, there will be frog, there will be small insects, there will be dry leaves, there will be so many things in the river. Fine. Everything will have to be there. They are all dependent on the river. If you are to bathe, you go and bathe. Nothing stops you, is it not? You just move away all these things and you bathe. They are all flowing, let it flow. That will be there. So let us not make it as a cause that why are they there? Let there be water, let there be river. Without any of these things, then I will bathe. Is it possible? Because these are pluralities, this world is there. What happens? Your action should be to liberate yourself. What is your attention? Your attention to clean yourself. You have to bathe yourself. So to bathe yourself, you start bathing there. Since there is an activity going on there, automatically whatever insects, whatever other things are coming, they will go away. Is it not? When there is movement, suppose in a pond, in a lake, we all used to bathe in the ponds old days, or in the river. When you bathe in the river, the fish around that, or the snakes, or anything that is there in the water, when there is movement here, automatically they go away. They don't bother you. Is it not? Same way, when you start wanting to liberate yourself, identifying that jnanam and doing non-injury to yourself, identifying liberated thoughts only for liberating, even though your emotions, attachments, all the prakritis of the niyama of that jivatma that you have to experience will be around you, but they will not bother you. Why? You are bathing and creating those waves around them, so they will all go away from you. No? Same way, your thoughts and your emotions, even though they are there, they will not penetrate into you. They will not disturb your bath. They will not disturb you in your executing your karmas and your life and your living. You live, you can live, and you should live. You are meant for living. That's why we are born. We have to live. Doesn't mean we put a condition that this should not be there. Doesn't mean that you use liberation for the purpose of entanglement. No. Non-injury, ahimsa is a great word. Why I explain so much is that don't take it lightly. Ahimsa paramo dharma, they said. What's the meaning of it? Ahimsa is the dharmam. What is dharmam? Dharmam is that I travel towards the Brahman, execute all the karmas as akarmas. Execute all the karmas as Bhagavan said, execute all the karmas are akarmas. And execute all your karmas in your life only for the purpose of liberation is why dharma. Paramo dharma. Above all the dharmas, this is the paramo dharma, ahimsa. In ahimsa, everything comes. Now I have explained you everything. Everything comes in ahimsa. Even attachment is ahimsa. When you classify them, why it is ahimsa, I told you. Because it is binding you. It is binding you means what? You lost your freedom. You lost, what is binding? Binding means you lost your freedom. Lost your liberty. No? They are all bindings. They are all shackling you into those emotional, temporary, illusionary world and which you think is right. And then only to realize at one point of time, my God, I was living in a dream world. What did I think? I believed that, I thought that, I expected that. Is it not his dharmam to do that towards me? Is it not that dharmam to... we have lots of questioning that, but we don't want to. Why are you dependent on others? Bhagavan has given you the right knowledge through Upanishads. Through the Gurus, and the Upanishads have constantly, for the number of eras they had been preaching. Every satsanga, probably every man, every guru might have spoken this. Everyone might have spoken this. Not one. Don't bind yourself in the sense. Don't get entangled. See. Keep away from entanglement. When there is a cyclone, keep away from that. Don't try to go inside there. Why do you want to go inside there? You know that cyclonic storm when only disturb you is so that whatever you do against that function for the purpose of liberation, karmas for the purpose of liberation, thoughts for the purpose of liberation, and anything that activities that is against the purpose of liberation is binding, is injury, it is himsa. Such a person only can think of himsa for others. The man who is killing the other person or disturbing the other person, he is more disturbed, depressed, disappointed, suppressed, and emotionally deprived from his expectations environment. Somebody say, oh, I had a very bad, when interviews were going on, I had a very bad childhood. People disturbed me, people called me this. I didn't have parents. I grew up in the street and people threw stones on me. And that, frustration, anger, everything, he made him, those things made him himsa, only himsa, because of his experience. Why? Because he has accepted that. Instead of thinking that I have, now the same thing, if he thinks that I grew up like that, but I don't want to do that to the others. Liberated thinking. One way. I have been disturbed by the society, so I will kill all the society. The terrorists. That's called terrorism. The ones who has not disturbed you at all, who are innocent, who have no enmity with you, they don't even know you or your name, you are bombing all those people and killing them. Where is the justice there? Then why is he doing it? We are thinking, where is the justice? In a market of another country, with the children, ladies and poor men and small children, they are buying small things in the market, and this man, he comes from somewhere who doesn't know anything, he doesn't even know the country, he doesn't know the people, he keeps a bomb and explodes it, hundreds of them, they die. Now, he derives satisfaction out of it. He derives satisfaction out of it. How the deriving of satisfaction comes into him? The brutality in him. The frustration in him. No? He has to be so demoralized and frustrated, then only he can do such an action. A normal person, can he do it? With little bit of thinking. Can they do it? No. He should be so deeply demoralized. He should be so deeply depressed. He should so deeply disregard his own self. He must be spitting on himself. Why did I take birth? Only such a person can do such nasty jobs. Am I right? Tell me honestly. If he doesn't disregard, brutal towards himself, why he should do it? You understand why I am emphasizing on injury? Because he has done the injury in his thought. He has to think only one. Suppose he had a good guru, people have utilized him. He is already deprived man, young man. Now let me also detail it. Having told, let me analyze it. Young man, educated, graduated. Parents are poor, with great difficulty. Education has been completed. No job. Poverty still persists. From corners of relations, sometimes from his own father, from his own brothers and sisters, or from own relatives, once in a while he gets a word. Bada graduate kiya. What are you doing? Roaming around? Can you not go and find a job? That's a normal question asked. Can you not go and find a job somewhere? Kuch bhi karo, darwani karo. As if there are people waiting for you to give the job for darwanis. Genuine problem is there. I am not denying that. Now what happened? He listens. Who educated him? His father educated him. his house educated him, whatever it is. He says that, hum itna taklif karke, no, I gave you, I provided you this education. I provided you this, I provided you this, I provided you this. But you, useless fellow, doing nothing. Do you think that he himself is happy with that situation? No. He is trying, but in his trial, he cannot succeed. He is unable to succeed. His environment, his society, his situation are such that if he gets some opportunity, do you think that he will be making himself a fool in front of others? No, he would do it. He could not do it. He needs help. Somebody has to help him out. Somebody who has got influence has to recommend him, so that one life is saved. हम लोग बोलते हैं ना, चलो उसका नौकरी लगा दिया तो आपने किसी का लाइफ बचा दिया, जान बचा, जीवन बचा दिया, एक फैमिली का जीवन बचा दिया. One family saved themselves. Now we say that. Why? Why? Because he comes out of that thought of depression. That's all. What we require is that for this man, what we call it as terrorists, instead of promoting, some people are there who are really brutal, interested in destruction. They utilized him to make him more demoralized and brutal, and encouraged him to do that because he was in an advantageous position to be drawn towards the negativity. He told that, "Itna to pada hai, you have become graduate." Kya hua? What happened? The first question. Is there anybody who can give you a job? No. I will give you a job, I will give you money, I will give you food. Now what happens? His mind starts working. I know it is a bad job, but every day comes home, father asks, "Kuch hua?" Brothers ask, "Kuch hua?" Relations ask, "Kuch hua?" He is born nalayak. It's a born, although he doesn't want to do it. Simply that. ऐसा है क्या? There are so many people in the world, they're all getting jobs. He doesn't get a job. He thinks that, should I listen to that every day? Should I join here? Now what happened? His frustration, his himsa of himself, he feels, what has started? He started feeling himself as so small. Every day he started spitting on him. Why did I take birth? No? Not eligible to be living in this. That bitterness, that hatred, that inefficiency, he thinks he is inefficient, he is not able to do anything, he is a burden to everybody, he is burden to parents, burden to the country, burden to the village, burden to everyone. Better be that. Now here, at least you can. Now there, he gets a lot of emotional support there. He gets, all frustrations. Where is he taking out? He's taking out in his gun and killing. Every time he kills another person, every time he keeps a bomb, what he thinks? He is killing himself actually. That frustrated man is killed every time when he keeps this. Is how he becomes a terrorist according to me. Am I right? Think about it, analyze. Who would like to be a terrorist? Tell me. No normal human being would like to be a terrorist. He has to be abnormal. No? That brutality has to come in him. Injury to the self. I am explaining in detail about the injury. Even though we are not terrorists, we are also terrorists in many ways. We may not be keeping bombs and shooting others. Are we not terrorists? I mean, not to that extent. Are we not? We are. Are you not unnecessarily disturbing others? Are you not unnecessarily blaming others? Are you not unnecessarily hurting others? Is it not terrorism? They are also in a milder way, so that we call it as depression, disappointment, expectation, and dissatisfaction. All those things will bring all these characteristics. So what I am trying to tell you is that they are all injury, is what I am trying to tell you. What is the way? Very simple. Best be in association of a noble man who knows the truth. When you feel thirsty, where will you go? Suppose on the way, when you're walking, when you're feeling thirsty, I'm talking about village, let us say, forest, you will try to find a well or a pond or a stream. You will go to that only? Or will you go to a mountain and throw stone? Because I am thirsty, frustrated. No. What you should do? This is a natural thing. The terrorist, what he does? When he is thirsty, he goes to the mountain and throws stones of his anger. Why am I thirsty? Why am I thirsty? And throws stones and then eats others, and he injures himself, he injures others also. Whereas, when you have that culture, when you have that inclination towards, when you really go by the emotions of you, when you go really by the nature of you, when you know what you require, that when you're thirsty, what is the basic thing? Even a child knows. Nobody has to teach a child, is it not? When even a small infant, he will grab the water bottle. So we know he is thirsty, see. When you are thirsty, where you go? To the water. It's inherent, and that knowledge is there in you. You cannot say that I have to educate to know when I am thirsty, I have to go to the water. Has anybody taught anyone for that? No. Same way, when you are born, when you are executing this karmas in your life, where you should go? The thirsty goes to the water. Same way, the disciple, the one who goes to a noble man, who leads you towards quenching the thirst of that ignorance. Quenching the thirst with the knowledge, with pure stream water, cool, chill water for you to drink and quench your thirst, and then no more place to go, not necessary to go, and here and there, and exert yourself in order to find out what will make me quench the thirst. Who will make me quench the thirst? Where should I go to quench the thirst? Should I go or not? Will these thoughts come? No. Drink the water, finished. No. Thirst is quenched. Same way, simple. When you are depressed, when you are disappointed, when you are ignorant, when you do not have the jnanam, when you are unable to control yourself, go to that jnani, go to that tapasvi, surrender yourself. Don't keep your argument. Go to the water. Say that, do you think that drinking water will quench my thirst? Nothing doing. I will not drink. I will go that side and throw stones only. That can be done. Keeping your own this one, even though you have gone to the water, you didn't want to drink. Well, that's why surrender, samarpanam. We have to do samarpanam to the water. Please come to my hand so that I can drink. Samarpanam. Water is flowing there. You open your mouth and stand here. It will not come to you, no? You have to take the patra there. And then, maybe water is close by. Open your mouth. Why? See, I went there, as you told me. You said when you are thirsty, you go to the water. I went to the water. I went and stood there and I opened my mouth also. But I did not fall into mine. This is the argument they will have. Did you extend your hand to receive that? Did you do samarpana? When you do samarpana means your ahankara should be dropped. Do samarpana, quench the thirst. When you quench the thirst, your thirst is gone. Simple solution for all these problems. Neither terrorism, not injustice, no hatred, no depression, no differences, no pluralities will be there. That's why Maharshis, Tapasvis and God himself have given these words of wisdom for today's people to understand and behave and be. What for? He doesn't want anything. He wants you to liberate from that thirst. When you are thirsty, you can be brutal. You have pain. When you are thirsty, you have pain. You have displeasure. You have disappointment. You have non-achievement. That means a frustration of non-achievement. I can't find water. You got those emotional suppressions, and all your karmas are come to a standstill because you are thinking only about the thirst. All other karmas have come to standstill. Nothing he is able to do. He is not moving at all. He is only brutal. Instead, surrendered within a fraction of a second, water is in, jnanam is inside, and you know exactly what is to be done. Keep moving fast in this life. Finish off your karmas. Liberate yourself. Everybody says that, oh, I want mukti, I want moksha, I want this, I want this. But we use this mukti and moksha for all unwanted, unliberated things. Let me have mukti from him. Let me have moksha from him. Let me have mukti from that event, that incident, that item, that this one and that situation, that किसी तरह उससे मुक्ति मिल जाए. This is how we use the word. Mukti is being used for entanglement. Mukti is used for entanglement, is it not? Let me get mukti from him is an entanglement. Yes. A struggle there because you are disappointed. You are bound by that depression. So your concentration is only to get mukti from him, not get the mukti. No. What happened? Your world, as I told you in the stage of drama, your world has come to a standstill only with that. Whole day and night you are only stuck by that world. Where is swatantrata that has been given to you? And independence have been given to you to get dependent to your petty, silly and unwanted thoughts, emotions. Is why I have given you the liberation, is what God says. Is why I gave you the quality and capacity to give this swatantrata for you. I gave you that liberty. Why don't you use it, a fool man? There is nobody who is a sinner worse than not using the facility that has been provided by the God to you. He's the biggest sinner. The one who doesn't have the facility, he is not doing it, he is not a sinner. A man who doesn't have hands, he is not using it as the others are, it's not a sin. But a man who has got hands, he does all the dirty work, is it not the sin? Have you got it, what I am trying to tell you? The more and more you explore, the more and more this will come out. So all these are injury, they are all binding. But as I told you, there is not only injury, I told you for non-injury, there is a solution. Okay, you can blame. I have been born in such circumstances, I am stuck by this, I have got these problems. Yes. If you are thirsty, go to the water. Take the water and drink. Problem is solved. No hue and cry on that. Why you are keeping on beating your head throughout your life? Saying that, oh, I have not got it, I have not got it, I have not got it. This is exactly like there are birds, storks, they're storks, they call it. When they rain only, they open their mouth and the rain drops. They cannot drink from here because all this will flow off. They cannot drink from the lake or from the tank. They can't drink. When it rains, it has to open the mouth and they'll cry, when it rains. Wait for the raindrops, so he'll open his mouth, stand like that, the beak, They get water only while it rains. They can drink. And they live in the water. They swim, they do all other activities. They fish, everything they do. Water, he has to depend on the rain. But when it rains, has anybody taught him to do that? That you have to raise your beak and stand like this, and when rain drops you drink the water? Nobody has taught, no. Because he is thirsty, he does it when it rains. No? You open the mouth and you see that. They can drink water like that. See, even that bird has been given that wisdom to quench his thirst. He has to open the beak when it rains, then only he will get water. Even though he is in the water, he can get any other things, but he cannot drink other than that. He has to depend on this. This knowledge, the jnanam, has been inherent, given to even a bird. So this inherent jnanam is there in every human being, that I have to go to a guru, I have to go to a noble man who knows about it, to acquire the jnanam. So acquire the jnanam can remove my ignorance, is known to everyone behind the back of mind. Only thing, you have to do it, you have to go. Why I am explaining all these events, all the events, so that it is distinctly clear how this affects. Am I clear? So many examples I give. Just by going by the side of it and opening the mouth, the water will not surrender. That's why the word samarpanam has been given. Samarpanam is not a bad word. To drink water, you have to bend your head, You can't do it like this and drink water. Have you? Do samarpanam, are simple thing. By action, God has shown you. Do like this and drink water. No? Samarpana bhava has to be there. And then accept it. When jnanam comes, let that ignorance do not debate the jnanam. Ignorance has no capacity to debate the jnanam. So, the biggest ahimsa is that, refuting the jnanam. The biggest dharma is not disturbing anyone and anything. The biggest service to the mankind is not to disturb others in any way. It's the biggest service that you can do. Manava seva. People call Manava seva, Madhava seva and all that. Manava seva is that only thing what you have to do is that not to disturb others. That's all. That is seva, Manava seva. Create all the problem and distribute food. Create calamities, create poverty, create a calamity, distribute food. Kyo? Manava seva. Non-injury I am talking about. They are all injury. Be liberated from all this is all what I can say, because I cannot explain non-injury. Ahimsa, I can explain himsa. As I told you, because ahimsa is opposite to this. That's all what I can say. Don't get involved into himsa, hina bhavana. Hina bhavana. Himsa. The hina has come from himsa only. Hina bhavana. Don't get involved into hinata. Don't get involved into himsa. Come out of that. And for that, you don't need anything. With any situation you are in, you are ready to go in that status of ahimsa. Just accept the jnanam. Even a man who is dying, he is asking for the jnanam. See, we all do it. Even when somebody is dying in a natural death, in the houses and all that, constantly, Ramayana part, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam part, many things goes on, so that some words while dying at least will go inside him and enlighten him in some way or other. That is why these things are being done in our homes. I think most of the religions, they do in their own way. They all do this because, so that let some words go inside. That's why every day Sandhya Namam. Before you retire in the night, let your mind be focused, because the whole day you are disturbed. So many activities are there. Sandhya Namam has been created. Again, non-injury. They're all based on non-injury only. The man goes to the bed with all sorts of tension and problems. Now tell me how he can sleep with all these things. So what happened? Maharshis thought, hey look, ऐसे नहीं सीखेंगे. They are human beings, not humans, human being. Manava dharmam they do not know. So let me install a procedure. Sandhya Vandana. Every day in the house should do Sandhya Vandana. No? Half an hour, 40 minutes, 1 hour, whatever it is. Everybody sits, do real prayers that starts from the parents. Sandhya Vandanam they do, pray to the Lord. Hey Bhagavan, Kshamapanam for whatever mistakes I have done, knowingly and unknowingly, whatever mistakes I have done, Kshamapanam. Please protect me, my family. All the mistakes that has been done, please protect. Please give me peace, Shanti. Please give me liberation towards thinking of Lord. Give me ekagra chitta towards praying to you, so that I gain strength in order to function in my life. That's all. Give me strength, like Nachiketa has asked. Give me strength in order to execute my karmas in the right way. Don't say tum aisa kar do. Don't give instructions to God. We all give instruction to God. Even though maybe in a milder way. Hey Bhagavan, I am doing prarthana, prayer. I pray to you to see that I get it. See, I pray to absolutely, grammatically also it is wrong. Anyway, sorry, so many things come to my mind, so I don't want to tell out. Very important word is why Ahimsa is why I'm saying this so much, taking so much of time for that. It's not that time is not important, more understanding is important. Unless my mind knows so many diversities of injury, I won't be able to fix it towards non-injury, is why I'm explaining all this. It's not I am explaining. God has explained all this to everybody. Everyone knows. So to be on the side of non-injury, if you want to be a himsak, you have to stop this himsa to you. You have to stop this himsa, activities of himsa, whatever I have explained now. Keep listening, keep understanding, keep repeating, keep remembering all this, so that you can be liberated from that. And let your thoughts and actions and the jnanam take you towards that absolute mukti, moksha. Towards the Lord, towards the truth, towards the jnana prakasham, towards the chaitanyam. That's the only purpose. All activities should lead towards that. All roads. That's why that from this Upanishad only that bishop has taken that word. All roads lead to Rome. All roads lead to home, I would say. All roads leads to home, as Swami Chinmayananda said. Hari Om, he said Hari Om. That's why people are saying Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. Swamiji has got all that. Ahimsa. And with this Ahimsa, let us stop this class, because I want you to contemplate on that Ahimsa. Om Shanti.